friends, you're welcome back to the Afro Food Diary. You're welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. Guys, I'm so excited because I got to make a designer stew or father stew, Ayamase, or basically bell pepper stew, like most of us know. I've longed to make this for so long, but because I don't have all the ingredients available, I was not able to make some. I once ate it at a Yoruba friend's house and I really loved it. And I thought, since we already make so many sauces with paprika, bell peppers, why not? This stew would be a great one to try. So recently, Fantastic Favor kind of opened our eyes to the fact that you can actually make this stew with the ingredients available to you and still enjoy it. So I decided to give it a try. Here is the version I've come up with. So guys, sit back as I walk you through how I achieved this yumminess. So the major ingredients for this recipe is bell peppers, and you can see I have five green peppers and one large red one. I was speaking to my Yoruba friend and she was like, this stew goes well with more of green peppers than the red ones. So reason I have more green than red. And then I have a thumb of ginger and that size of onions. I have crayfish there, and then I'll be using this tilapia. I'll be frying it into my oil just for that extra native taste. And then here I have got chicken, but you can use beef. I feel like beef tastes a lot better, but if for any reason you prefer chicken, like on this day I wanted to use chicken because that's what I really wanted. Okay, so I have there chicken thighs that the skin has been all peeled off. Okay, and then over here I'm just rubbing salt basically onto the tilapia. By the way, looking at the tilapia, you can see that I've already cleaned out the fins and all those things, so it's quite ready. Then I'll be boiling these 5 eggs to add to the sauce. I'll be stew as well. Over here I've got some dry rosemary, some oregano, cayenne pepper, paprika powder, and then instead of stock cube I'll be using this beef stock instead. Okay, yeah, recently that's what I've been using in most of my cooking, especially if I will not be cooking that food with beef. Any recipe that requires beef and I wouldn't be using beef, I use that and still get the taste I want out of it. So you can give it a try. Okay, so here I'm just going ahead to spice up the chicken with the spices I just mentioned. Okay, so we want to spice it with, let's say, half a teaspoon of each of those spices, and then salt, and of course I'm going to be adding some of those onion to it as well. Okay, so and then the ginger I sliced up as well and added to this. Yeah, I'll give that a good mix, like mix everything in, because I wouldn't be adding water to this chicken. I'll cover it and transfer to my cooktop to cook until the chicken is tender and bring out beautiful stock. Meanwhile, I'll be using both palm oil and the normal vegetable oil, and my onions are ready. Here is the chicken and the beautiful stock it's bringing out on its own. So it's been like 6 minutes or thereabouts, and by now the hot marinating process is been happening for a while, like long enough for those spices to get into our chicken. Okay, so what I just did is mix it up properly. So I gave it another 5 minutes, and then I went in and added a little bit more water just so I can get enough stock for the sauce we're making. Okay, and then I'm adding some already crushed Habanero pepper. If you are interested, this is how I achieve that. Normally when I buy peppers in large quantities, I just mince it up in this food processor, like you can see here. The reason I do that is because if I buy a whole lot of pepper and since I don't eat a lot myself, they end up spoiling before I could use it up. So what I do, I process it like you can see, and then put in this Ziploc bag and kind of flatten it out like this. So whenever I want, I'll just break out a little bit out of it, if that makes sense, and use for my cooking. Okay guys, so over here I'm going ahead now to slice up some ginger, and then I'm going into the peppers as well, okay, because this pepper we're going to be blending them up. You can do this in your wet blender, but because I wouldn't want to go through the long process of steam drying the pepper after blending it with water, I'll be using a food processor instead. Okay, that way I wouldn't have so much water to boil out of the pepper before frying. Okay, if that makes sense. Fantastic Favor mentioned that, and I thought it was a great idea. So our peppers are ready, and I went into this pot to pour some palm oil. Okay, we're going to be bleaching this oil, but while that is happening, I'm going to use it to fry this tilapia fish. Okay, the reason is so that time it takes the tilapia to fry, our oil will also take that time to bleach. Okay, you can see the color of the oil after I fried the tilapia 4 minutes on both sides. Okay, then I went in and poured in and topped up the oil with some of the vegetable oil I showed us earlier. Okay, enough to fry the peppers I have there. Then I went in my onions, I minced some of them, and some of them I just sliced up. Okay, you can see that some of them are smooth, some of them are roughly cut. Yeah, just slice the way you prefer. Okay, then I'm going to be sauteing these onions, and oh, the aroma from this, guys, the aroma from this. And I will add a little bit of salt to this and continue to stir fry, can saute it. Okay, Fantastic Favor used the only vegetable oil for hers, but I thought since I already had a normal tomato stew in the house and was going to make this native sauce, I decided to just use palm oil since I have one available. But you can totally use do without palm oil. Okay, just like she did. So here is our tilapia grilling perfectly in the oven. I topped it up with a sauce whose recipe will be out after this one. Okay, wait for it. So the stew, the peppers are frying in that oil. So what I did was cover it to boil down, you know, so that the water kind of dries and leaving the oil on top of the sauce, if that makes sense. And that took me about 10 minutes, after which I stirred it, and in that cup I've got half a teaspoon of paprika, cayenne pepper, and the mixed spices. I also tossed in some crayfish, like you can see me do here. Basically what we are doing from here is to spice the stew. Okay, some salt went in, and please guys, as you cook, please taste. Okay, because the much spices I'm using may be too much for you, or maybe too few for you. Okay, so after I added those spices, I poured in my already boiled chicken. This is chicken thighs, hard chicken thighs. Okay, so I didn't need to grill or anything, but depending on what you're using, you can decide to grill your meat if you want to. So I tasted and added a little bit of curry powder, and now is the time to add one more Knorr beef stock. Okay, remember the beef stock I showed us earlier? I'm adding one more just for that beef flavor in this recipe. Okay, so like I was telling us, I feel like beef is is better for this sauce. Okay, beef, then tripe, shake, and all those. But here I'm improvising and doing with kind of making it with what I have. Basically, what am I speaking? So guys, the next thing I did was throw in the already boiled eggs, the 5 of them, and then I went in to stir everything together. Our tilapia has been grilled. I'm using that to serve lunch, but I fried it in this oil for this Ayamase, for this designer stew. I like that name. Yeah, so, and I got that tilapia flavor into our oil as well. So at this point, I can confidently tell you that our stew is as good as ready. So guys, the message of this video is to encourage you to go on and try those recipes you've been waiting for the right time or for the right ingredients to try out. Okay, start experimenting, and who knows, one day you might come across the major ingredients and you will make the perfect one. Okay, so just like me, whenever I come across shaki, I come across iru, I come across all those native stuffs, I would go on and try this recipe again. So with that, I say thank you so much and have a beautiful day.